daily dilemma. Which one to go for? If the Nespresso machine was still working, this would be a much easier decision. Eeny, meeny, miny, fuck it. Mo. We're having a coffee. Technically, I should have said this is coffee number 2. But fuck it. It's Monday. What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you are good. And whilst that kettle is boiling, like, subscribe, all that jazz. The momentum we got with the first video dropped off in the second one. Or maybe that's just my shit skills at making vlogs. Who knows? Probably. Anyway, we are on week 3 of my softer shredded fat loss challenge, and I realised that we've not actually gone through my training at the minute because it's really, really exciting. But first, kettle's boiled, in case you didn't hear. So I'm going to make a coffee and then I'll sit down and let's go through a very exciting episode of what my training looks like. As if you even really care. Alright, so hope you got a good view there of Lilo's clothes that are drying. So let's go through what my training currently looks like, because it's changed quite a bit over the last few months. I was trying to do a 4-day week split, but the volume was really, really high and I couldn't quite get that in. So I then, after that, for a period of time leading into Christmas, tried to drop down to 3 days a week, thinking that would make things much, much easier because I'd only have to get to the gym 3 days a week. However, essentially then all that happened was those 3 workouts were taking me far too long to get done. It was like minimum 90 minutes, closer to 2 hours to get the same volume covered, which again was just far too long. And the problem that I found, the difficulty I've had with obviously adapting to life as a parent and trying to work around that and the business and finding time to train and everything like that, when it isn't my top priority. I'm not going to forgo doing jobs that I need to do to make sure I get my workout in. If something has to give for me, it's always the workout. So to make sure I could still get it in, the issue wasn't necessarily being able to get to the gym each day. The issue I was finding was only being able to be there for a certain amount of time because I need to get back to help out with Lilo and also just to do work bits. So I then decided I was going to go to a 5-day week split, and instead of doing 3 days that were taking really, really long, I was going to condense all those sessions down into 5 days a week and try and split it across the 5 days. And that went okay for a little bit, but again, the 5 days, I personally just don't love training 5 days a week. It just doesn't work with my routine. So I kind of then went back to where I started, which was the 4 days a week, but on a reduced volume. So I'm currently training 4 days a week now, but my volume is basically at baseline. So whereas in the past, I've tried to make sure that I'm targeting for me the areas that I struggle to grow, which is like my delts, my arms, my chest, things like that. Normally my programming that I'll do for myself will be with a focus on those areas and the volume will be higher in those areas. With this, because I'm kind of just covering the baseline volume I need to hit everything, I don't have that luxury. So this is what my training is looking like at the minute. So like I said, I've got 4 days a week, and the split that I'm currently doing is a push-pull legs upper body split. So there is still a slight emphasis, you could argue, on my upper body than there is on my lower body. But for me as well, my lower body tends to respond and grow much, much quicker than most of my upper body, except for my back. So I'm still doing a bit more of a focus on that. But again, it's kind of still, even with that 4th workout, that upper body session, I'm kind of just covering the baseline volume in a lot of things. Session 1, you can see they're pretty short and quick, like 5 to 6 exercises at most per workout. For push, I have got a flat dumbbell chest press, which I've really been enjoying trying to push up with this. Straight into a pec deck then, so I have 2 sets of flat dumbbell chest press, set of 6 to 8, set of 10 to 12, into 3 sets of a pec deck of 8 to 10, and then I go onto the incline Smith chest press, which is a movement I really, really enjoy, for 2 sets after that, so for a set of 6 to 8 and a set of 10 to 12. And then I have this superset for delt. So you can see that in this push workout, there's actually only 1 delt movement, really. Although you could argue anterior delts are going to get worked through these pressing movements as well. Really, isolating wise, there's only 1 delt movement here and 1 tricep movement because I'm trying to keep the volume to a minimal. And I basically do some heavy dumbbell side raises where I'll only get half a repetition out. It's a partial rep, and I'll superset that into, or drop set that into, just full normal dumbbell side raises. So sets of 10 for each. Typically at the minute I'm working with like 15 kilos for my heavy set and about 10 kilos for my lighter set of full range of movement. And then into the cable tricep push down for 3 sets of 8 to 10 with a drop set on the last set to fail to finish triceps off. Then I go into a pull day. So pull, or essentially what this one is, back and biceps. Starting with some weighted pull-ups, again, trying to progress these at the minute. You're going to see this today because this is a session I'm going to be doing in a minute. So I'm not going to talk too much about this because I'll go through it whilst I'm training. Upper back machine row, single arm cable row, which is actually incorrect because it's a machine row. Close grip pull down and then into a superset of arms to finish. Cable bicep curls into some rope hammer curls there. So again, I'm not going to spend long on anything here because I'm literally going to be showing you what it looks like in a couple of minutes. My leg day then is a hip abductor, 2 sets, 1 set of 10 to 12, followed by a set of 6 to 8, going heavier on that second set. For me, I kind of flip this around. Normally, I'll do my heaviest set first with most things because that's when I've got the most energy and my most potential to perform and to develop my strength. But with a hip abductor, it takes me quite a few sets to get warmed up. So I'll do about 3 to 4 warm-up sets on this so that my groin doesn't feel like it's going to snap. And then I'll do my heaviest set last when I feel my most warmed up. Then I go into a hack squat. So I've pulled out a barbell back squat for now. Swapped in a hack squat that I've not done for a while, and I have 2 sets of 4 to 6 and a set of 8 to 12. Into a Romanian deadlift. Again, I've pulled out deadlifts from my programming for a little while, and I've pulled in or swapped in an RDL movement. So still a deadlift variation, but just slightly different for 3 sets of 6 to 10. And then I finish off legs with a DY set. So seated hamstring curl and leg extension. Now, this is basically just one complete set to absolute failure. So what I'll do is I'll do a couple of warm-up sets, nothing crazy, and then I'll pick the heaviest weight I can to get 8 to 12 reps with. I'll do 8 to 12 reps. Then I'll rest for 5 seconds. I'll go back in at the same weight and do as many reps as I can. So rest, pause. Rest for 5 seconds. Back in with the same weight, as many reps as I can. Rest for 5 seconds. Drop the weight. Back in as many reps as I can. Rest for 5 seconds. Drop the weight again. Back in as many reps as I can. And then I'm done. So it's basically 5 total working sets, all to complete failure in one set. And what I quite like about that is you're done quite quickly, but you're taking your legs to absolute failure. So it's difficult and it's painful, but it gets it done really quickly. And then finish legs off with some standing calf raise. And then upper body, my final session of the week. Usually do this on a Saturday or a Sunday morning. Seated dumbbell shoulder press for 3 sets, 2 6 to 8, 1 10 to 12. A cable pull down for back again, 3 sets, 1 10 to 12, 2 6 to 8. Incline dumbbell chest press, 2 sets of 8 to 10, and then I have a superset of delts, which is a reverse dumbbell fly into a dumbbell Y raise, and then I finish off with some preacher curl for biceps and dumbbell skull crushers for triceps. So you can see, there's not tons of volume here. These workouts take me, when I'm not filming them, about 45 to 60 minutes, which is what I like at the minute. I'm in, I'm out, I get it done, I have a good workout, I feel like I'm progressing my strength, and we're going pretty well with that. And that's the other thing as well. Even though I'm dieting, even though I'm now on week 3 of this softer shredded fat loss challenge, my weights, my strength is still going up. Even though food's come down, even though body weight's come down, even though I'm looking leaner, strength is still going up. Because you don't instantly get weaker the second you start dieting. You can still progress your strength for a long time in a diet. It's the mindset people have when they go into a diet. They expect to get weaker, so they perform worse in the gym. But actually, you should be fine. This is how I log it using my logbook. All my one-to-one clients get a very similar thing. You will have a similar thing to this inside Softer Shredded if you've downloaded it and you're using it right now. And this specific plan isn't inside the Softer Shredded challenge, but it could be. If you want to use this, if you like the look of this program and you think it works for you, comment down below, I want the plan, give me the plan, whatever. And I'll add it into Softer Shredded and I'll send it directly to you. You can use this, I don't mind. So that is everything. That's my training plan. So we are now going to head over to the gym and actually put this pull session into action. Hoping it's not going to be too busy, so it makes filming a bit easier, but it probably will be, because it always is at this time. But oh well, what can you do about it? And what is it they say? You've got a row to grow, haven't you? Even though technically right now that makes no real sense because I'm dieting, so won't really be growing, but we're going to row anyway. music's as loud as hearing ever, so I'll try and talk over it as best as I can. Hopefully the mic picks up me and not everything else, but weight pull-ups to start with, not gone too bad. Worked up to 15 kilos at the minute, doing 3 sets with 15 kilos for about 8 to 6 reps, 6 to 8 reps. The goal with those is to get up to a full 20 kilos for 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps. Not too far off. We've got upper back now with a machine row. So we're going to do 10 to 12 reps as a bit of a warm-up, and then 2 sets of 6 to 8 heavy, see what we can do with that. And I'm out of breath already. One or 2 for 6, which I think's a PB. That's not bad. You'll see at the end, I do a couple of like half reps, and that's more just because the risk of injury on this machine is very low. Just getting some half reps out at the end, or lengthen partials if you want to use a technical term, just to really get as much out of the movement as possible, but I don't count them as actual reps. So this is now a narrow grip, more neutral grip machine row. So a bit more for lats than whereas the other row, look, it's all going to hit pretty much the same stuff, but the last row, the upper back row, a little bit more for upper back. So we've had pull-ups, which was a nice overhand grip movement for a vertical pull. We've then had an upper back row into a machine narrow row, and then we're going to finish on a narrow or neutral narrow cable pull down next. And then onto biceps, but like I said, nothing overly crazy, no fancy movements, it's just basic lifts and just focusing on getting as strong as I can in them and performing them well. And that's pretty much it. Focusing on trying to bring the elbow to the hip, bringing the shoulders back, chest out, squeezing the lats, and just doing the best as I can. Pull-ups done, upper back row done, machine row done. Machine row was 2 sets of 8 to 10. And then we are literally, you're not here, me, finishing on close grip pull downs now for again 2 sets of 8 to 10. And then it's biceps to finish. So it was meant to be cable bicep curl, but sod's law, the gym isn't that busy, but the only thing I can't get on is the cables. So I'm doing a preacher curl instead. One thing that I don't think people realise, or maybe they wrongly assume, is that I feel comfortable doing all this. Even sat now recording, talking in the middle of the gym like a crazy person. Do not feel comfortable doing it at all. Never have. It's not something that comes naturally. I'd be lying if I said I enjoyed it. But it's part and parcel of the job, and I'm hoping, even though I've done it quite a bit in the past, it is slowly getting less daunting, but it is still quite a daunting thing. I'm hoping over time it gets less and less daunting. I actually start to feel comfortable with it. But even now, I don't feel comfortable doing it, like especially talking. I always dread doing these vlog days of like big training days. And then no one watches them anyway, so what's the point in doing them in the first place? But there you go. But yeah, I always just think to myself when I'm talking now and I'm using my hands like I am, who's at the other end of the gym spotting me being like, who the fuck is that lad talking to? Because I haven't got any headphones in, so I'm obviously not on the phone. People must think I'm mental. Alright, set number 2. Let's see what we can do. Too heavy. That'll do. Onto rope hammer. I don't care what anyone says either. Biceps is the most boring muscle group to train by far. I find it so dull. Comment below if you agree. Comment. Let me know I'm not the only one, but biceps fucking boring, man. Whew. What a beautiful day. Not a bad session actually. Managed to hit a few PBs on a couple of things, upper back machine row, the narrow grip machine row, which isn't too bad. Slowly progressing the weighted pull-ups, which is nice because pull-ups always something I've struggled with to load anyway, and as of recently just seem to be progressing quite quickly, which is cool. So yeah, not a bad session overall. Hate filming in there and trying to talk, but I think we did okay. Anyway, enough talk, get bored. Back home, food, shower, or shower and food. And then let's do a bit of a check-in for how we're looking this week, how last week's gone, and any targets we need to set this week to keep seeing this weight come off. Just a nice hill to climb up to get home. Glad I didn't train legs. Right then, that's home, eaten, showered, ready to do a check-in. In case you're interested, the post-workout meal was, unsurprisingly, if you've watched last week's What I Eat in a Day vlog, you'll know exactly what it's going to be. Chicken, rice cakes, and some veg. And I do have this as well, sort of mid-afternoon to put me on, so it's about 2 p.m. now. So I'll always have one of these after my lunch, around mid-afternoon. Pepsi Max cherry flavour, which, I don't care what anyone says, the best flavour. The best fizzy drink, I think, zero sugar one you can get. If you had to push me for a top 3, and let's be honest, you don't, because this is pre-recorded and edited, but if you did, Cherry Pepsi, number 1, Fanta Fruit Twist, number 2, and Fanta Orange, number 3. I think that's a really strong top 3, and maybe there'd be a Dr. Pepper sort of sitting around the periphery there. And I'm not including a White Monster in that at all, because if we are including White Monster, that's it to the top, because I'm an online coach and it's what we drink. Anyway, let's do a check-in. So I'm going to get my week's tracking sheet up from last week. We're going to have a look at how the week went. We're going to have a look at my check-in pictures and then decide what I need to do for this week. So let's do it. And yes, the iconic clothes washing behind me is still there, because you'd be disappointed if it wasn't there at this point. So anyway, check in. Let's have a look. So in week 1, I dropped about 3 kilos. Week 2 is about a kilo, 1.2 kilos on average. So still a really, really good week. Still quite a fast rate of fat loss. If you consider, anywhere from 0.5% to 1% is considered a good rate of fat loss, a quick one. So for me, that would be anywhere from 0.35 to 0.7 at the minute, near enough, or 0.4 to 0.8 if you want to be generous. And I've still dropped 1.2. So I'm comfortably sitting like 1.5 times where I need to be, essentially, if my maths is correct. And you wouldn't want to drop weight much quicker. Like, sometimes people try and keep doing things to drop weight faster and faster. They'll drop the food more, they'll try and do more steps, all these kind of things, undereat on the targets to drop weight quicker. But you want to be maintaining as much muscle as you possibly can, right? You've put a lot of work into building it. So maintaining a rate of 0.5% to 1% just means that you're going to lose fat at a really quick rate, but you're going to protect as much muscle, providing you're eating high protein and you're training regularly, as you possibly can. Any more than that is a natural, and you can't, they're starting to risk the muscle that you've built. So essentially what that means, and if you have a certain amount of weight to lose, don't try to make things as hard as you can to lose it as quick as you can. Just give yourself longer to lose it. So this past week, the main goal was for me to get my steps up, hit the 11K target, which I did, 11,214 steps, 0.3, let's just say 14 steps on average. So my step target was hit, my workouts were done, they were pretty good. It wasn't a bad week of training, it wasn't groundbreaking, a few good sessions here and there. I did also train today, and the strength today was pretty good, to be fair. So average weight came down by 1.2 kilos, water maintained at 3 litres, and then my nutrition, again for last week, average protein 180. So again, average protein slightly low last week, just because of this Saturday here, and I'll talk about what that is. So actually, this average won't be accurate because of what this day is here. My carb and fats, again, I don't really pay much attention to the averages on those. As long as I'm hitting my calories, I'm fine. And my average calories 1969, and my target is 2000. So I have come in really, really nicely towards that target, probably under, considering the refeed days. But again, you've got to take that into account. If I get rid of that day there we go. My average is 2,055. Now, on this day here, what happened on Saturday was, as a belated Christmas present, my brother took me out for lunch somewhere we've been wanting to go for ages. So instead of just panicking and trying to avoid that thing, which if I'm dieting for a photo shoot, I will generally try to avoid them. But instead of doing that, I just worked it in. So I gave myself some targets to hit through the day, 120 grams of protein, 175 grams of carbs, 30 grams of fat. And then I left myself, because it was a refeed day, about 1,000 calories for that meal out. So I could just go, I could have maximum 2 courses, just relax, enjoy the meal with my brother, have a nice meal, and not worry about it damaging my progress or anything like that. So these numbers are what I tracked through the day before then going out for that meal. So my calories for that day will be roughly around 2,500. I had a quick look at the menu before I went, and my protein's probably sitting closer to 160 to 170, something like that. So again, if we said it was 170, my average then comes out at 187. So still a little bit lower than what I should really be hitting, but not a million miles away. And for this week, that will probably be my goal. Now, moving ahead to this week, or even before we do that, having a look at check-in photos here, these were taken the other morning, and even just in a couple of weeks, I wasn't expecting to see much difference yet, but actually, with the 4 kilos that's come off, it's all pretty much water. There'll be a small amount of body fat there, but it's all pretty much water. But can actually start to see some nice progress. Like, we can see delts are a bit leaner this week, certainly that midsection around the side. The striations across the pecs really starting to come in a little bit more. On the side shot here, you can see a bit more definition. Triceps just looking that little bit thicker because there's less fat around them. And I'm pretty happy with the back shot as well. Like I said earlier, my back tends to come in quickly before anything else, so you can start to see the veins coming out on my back, the detail around the lower back coming in much, much quicker than anywhere else. So I'm happy with the check-in pictures. I'm seeing a good rate of weight loss. I'm seeing a good change to my physique.
we're pretty good. So this week, what my Softer Shredded program will do, and it will do this for you if you downloaded it as well, will after a couple of weeks, it essentially drops your food, increases your expenditure, makes things a little bit harder to make sure that fat loss is continuing to happen. However, that does not mean you have to stick to it. This is just a suggestion for this is what you could do to keep seeing some nice progress. If you're in a position like I am, where you're still dropping over the what's considered fast rate of fat loss amount, there's no need to make things harder. So for me to drop my food this week and increase my steps doesn't make much sense because I don't need to lose weight any quicker than I am. And if I did, I'd probably start risking a little bit of muscle tissue, which I don't want to do. So I'm actually going to overwrite the changes that it's made here, and I'm going to keep my food and my steps the same. All I am going to do this week is introduce a little bit of cardio. So 300 calories, I'll probably do it on the Stairmaster after a workout. It's probably about 20 minutes on the Stairmaster. And I'll get that done at some point this week. But beyond that, I'm going to keep my targets the same for this week and then just see where I am this time next week, because it's not broken, so don't fix it. And that is pretty much it. That is the check-in for this week. That's what we're going to do going ahead into week 3. So there we are. That is vlog number 3, week 2 complete. 4 weeks to go now to see how much more we can lose in this Softer Shredded challenge. We've covered what the challenge looks like, we've covered a day of eating, we've now covered what my training looks like. So I'm gonna have to start thinking of ideas for next week, because as of right now, I haven't got any. But I'm sure we'll think of something. I'll come up with some topics. 3 more videos to go in this mini series. And that's it. I hope you found that useful. Hope you enjoyed seeing the training, which is probably the bit that I would argue people find the least interesting, to be honest with you. But it's still questions I always get asked. So hope you found that useful. Hope you enjoyed the video. As ever, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Keep me performing better than Jake, because otherwise I'll never hear the end of it. And with that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.